Hello, welcome to the Gunpla Network. I'm Zeta Kai, and this is the metal build Gundam Exia Repair 4. And I feel that it is a tremendous honor and privilege to be able to own this beautiful figure and share it with you. That's what we're going to do in this video. It's been a while, but I'm back, and we're going to take a look at this incredible figure. But before we get started, let's talk a little bit about what the Gundam Exia Repair 4 is. What is this mobile suit? Well, in 2018, during the 10-year anniversary of Gundam 00, they had a festival. It was called the Mobile Suit Gundam 00 Festival 10. And in that festival, they had a live stage performance called Revision. You may have seen clips of this on YouTube. It's a little special. However, that festival saw the introduction of two new mobile suits, the Dynamis Repair 3 and the Exia Repair 4. It is piloted by Graham Aker, and the events of the festival and the stage drama take place after the events of Awakening of the Trailblazer. We'll talk a little bit more about the lore as we go through the video. But before we really get started, I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to talk about the design of the mobile suit and this particular figure. So the Exia Repair 4 was designed by Kanetake Ebikawa. You've heard me be effusive in my praise of him before, and I'm going to continue to do so now. Because the special thing about this figure is that it is based on the Repair 4, which was designed by Ebikawa. But Ebikawa himself designed and helped to create this particular figure. So that's what makes this figure very special, is that the man who created the design of the mobile suit from scratch is also the man who created the figure and made sure that it was designed properly and brought it to life. And as you hear me talk about how great this figure is, and it is quite great, this is one of the reasons why. It has the hands of the creator all over it. So it's a very special figure, it's a very premium figure. In fact, let's take a look at what the buying experience is like. So it's a Tamashii Web exclusive, so it comes packaged in this box, which helps protect this box. And this box is beautiful. I think it speaks to how great the figure is when the box doesn't have any extra artwork on it. All of the artwork on the box are production photographs of the figure itself. There's no illustrations or extra artwork anywhere. It's just beautiful, beautiful shots of a beautiful, beautiful figure. When you open up the box, you're greeted with even more premium product. You have the figure contained in its own little styrofoam box, and then all the accessories in these plastic bits. I will add one caveat. This is not like a virgin unboxing. I was too excited. I opened it up before I took the camera to it. So there is some more styrofoam and pieces of plastic, especially around the figure here, that you're not going to see, but come with the package. Just trust that Bandai has ensured that the shipment of this beautiful figure will not damage this figure in any way. Everything is pristine and perfect in its packaging. So you saw the accessories. Here's the stand that's included with most metal builds, a couple pieces that you have to add on yourself, and some more of the hands and other things. It is a great experience to unbox. Everything kind of goes back in there if you want to put it back together. Everything is super well protected and cared for. You also get a full color manual that folds out and has full color pictures of how all the accessories work, and it is just as beautiful as the figure itself. You do have to assemble a couple things, plug the stand into the base, plug the back skirt armor in. You have to put the GN drive there on the back as well. And then in the box you get this little adapter for attaching the figure to the stand, and you get all of these hands. So the Repair 4 is an asymmetrical design, and as such you get asymmetrical hands. It has all the different hands that you need to use the accessories. So it's a metal build. What does that mean? Well, it means there's lots of metal used to build the figure. So I'm pointing that out here. You can see it's all over the torso. You can see it poking through here, the legs. The literal inner frame of this is die cast metal, and it is gorgeous. It really adds to the look of the figure and also to the heft and the stability of the figure. This whole arm here, now that right arm, it was only the elbow joints, but this left arm is entirely metal. From the shoulder all the way to the wrist is all metal. It's painted, it's beautiful, it's spectacular. Just look at it. Huh, it's gorgeous. So what does that metal mean as far as articulation? Is this a giant brick of a figure or can it move around? Well, I'm happy to report it can move around. The Metal Build Exia line is very articulate and this one is no exception. We're going to look at each arm individually, but both arms have the Exia kind of clavicle joint here. The left arm will lift up this far and will kind of spin around on this swivel joint here at the bicep. It will spin 360 degrees on the shoulder. The elbow is double jointed, however, it doesn't go much past 90. I don't really miss it, but that's all the articulation you get. The left wrist has a hinge joint in between two ball joints, which allows the wrist to move around a lot, which is nice when you have Graham Aker and his left-handedness holding the giant GN Tachi blade. Both arms have that hinge joint in the shoulder. The right arm, there's the clavicle, and the right arm will lift up this much with the armor kind of moving out of the way. It will spin 360 degrees. It also has a cut joint, but its cut joint is closer to the elbow than the left arm. It also has a double joint, but it is way more movable than the left arm. It'll do a full 180. The wrist joint is different. It's two ball joints here that both kind of move around. There's no hinge joint in here. It still moves around quite a bit, but it's just a different structure than the left arm. The abdomen has a nice crunch in between those two metal pieces on that inner frame and will spin not 360, but basically 360. Don't try to go all the way around. You don't get like the tilting side to side like you would in the Master Grade Exia, but that's okay. I'd rather trade that off for some more stability. The front and back skirts have no problems getting out of the way. The fronts are on ball joints, the backs are on hinge. There's no side skirts on the Exia, no weapon storage on this particular Exia, so you get a nice split out of the hips. The hips themselves are very stiff, but not in an alarming way. They will maintain their pose, but you don't have to worry about like, oh, am I going to break it if I push too hard? No. The knees are double jointed, joint way up high in the knee and then a joint down here. You can see the beautiful segmented armor, and we'll actually move past 180. It's just depending on which high joint or low joint you want to bend up. The ankles have a little flap on the front, and this little piece right here moves in the back. Nothing on the side to side motion to inhibit that, and it will kick forward and backward very far. The little joint here, the weird little like double low foot joint, will actually move. A lot of people bemoan the Master Grade Exia's ankles. Not really an experience that I personally have had with my Master Grade Exias, but anyway, you don't have to worry about it with the metal build. They're metal, they're super tight and secure. There's also a cut joint here in the thigh I forgot about when I was doing the hips. So that's the main body of the figure. Let's take a look at how you store all these accessories. So that little piece down there at the bottom is metal, and then the rest of this is plastic. And it kind of clips into place. There's a little detent right there. And when you push it down, it'll hold in that position for storage of the GN bayonets. But it will move everywhere. It'll move all around, which is super nice. You'll find that very helpful when you're putting the Exia Repair 4 into different poses. You can still have the weapons stored on the back and they stay out of the way. So the GN drive is where you store the giant GN Tachi blade, and it's on a little hinge like this, and it will spin 360 degrees. There's no GN drive inside there. The GN drive towel is the one it uses. It doesn't physically have one. So the armature is all metal. Everything from the GN drive to that blue bit of plastic up on the GN shield is all metal. And it moves around quite a bit, and all the joints are very nice. The shield itself is mostly plastic, just some metal and some of the pins in the joints. And I really like that because it keeps it lightweight. So when you move it all of these different ways, it'll maintain the pose and not really upset the balance of the figure. This figure has incredible balance, by the way. Nice little moving flap here, a nice little hatch. And I don't know, like, is that a GN condenser? I think it is a GN condenser in there, but it moves around as well. So I mentioned the weapon accessory storage. Let's see how that works. So here on the GN shield, There are little C-clips here for the GN battle blades, and then the GN swords slide into these little pieces here. I may have that backwards. Oh yeah, I do have that backwards. So these are the GN battle blades. They slide in this way, and then the battle swords have like a little rod that connects to that C-clip, and they clip into place. They're pretty secure on there, and it's nice to have the storage on the GN shields. The GN bayonet, oh, I'm sorry, we're doing the GN Tachi. It just slides into that hinge joint like we showed earlier. It's a very straightforward affair. So the GN bayonets, now we're on them, they have these little hinged tabs that kind of stick out, and they go in these little rectangular slots and plug in there. So the Exia Repair 4 is quite articulate. It has metal in it, and you can store all of its accessories on the body. Does that mean that it's somewhat flimsy, that it is unstable in some way? Are you going to have to worry about that? Well, let's do a little test, shall we? Let's bring in the rave music and bring the Exia Repair 4 to a little dance party and have him bust a move. So if we shake him all around, this is with all of the accessories equipped. Nothing falls off. He maintains his pose for the most part. That shield will move around a bit, but that's a lot of weight on that little joint. Even upside down, just holding him by the leg, no problems there. So it's a very, very stable kit. So it's stable, it's articulate, it holds all the weapons on it. Looks pretty good so far. In fact, let's take a look at it with some of its master grade brethren. So this will fit right into the 1/100 scale. Here's the Exia and here's the Quanta. It looks just like a master grade with the exception of one little thing. The amazing intricate detail work done to this figure. If you put this next to the master grade, it will make a master grade look plain in comparison. All of the different types of paint and metal, there's gloss, there's metallic, there's matte, they all go together cohesively and nicely to show off different pieces and different parts and areas of the mobile suit. All of the paint work is perfect. All of the decal work is perfectly applied. There's no mistakes in the printing. The printing is very crisp. The lettering is precise. I didn't see any like messed up English, as you might call it. And all of the markings, seals, and decals are perfectly placed on the figure everywhere. They follow the contours of the armor. If you look at the stripes there, they look in perfect place. They're all printed the right way. The detail work on this is fabulous. That extends to all the different blades. So let's take a look at the blades and you'll see that gradient paint over that translucent plastic. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, and 7. So all 7 of them look fantastic on this beautiful figure. But do they work? Can you use them? Well, let's count down from 7 to 1 to see how well they work. So we'll start at 7 and 6 with the GN Battle Swords. These are the long blades. They slot into the hands. They look great. No problems holding them up. They don't fall over. They're super, super light, so you don't have to worry about that. The hands work very well. A lot of people don't like rubbery hands like this. They are on the rubbery side. You don't have to worry about the paint scratching. You don't have to worry about the accessories falling out of the hands. So we've done 7 and 6. Let's do 5 and 4, which are the GN Battle Blades, which are the short blades. Most often you'll see them being held under the hand like this, and that's where those slightly different hands come into play. They're just slightly canted at more of an angle, and they just work so well for underhanded poses like this. Now we're on to 3 and 2, and that's the GN Bayonets. So these are the sword rifles. They're probably the only thing that I can really think of that really reminds me of the 00 Gundam. I see a lot of Exia in this, and I see a lot of Quanta in this, but the 00 rifle swords are really coming through here with the GN bayonets. You just fold the handles down and they slot in perfectly. So this is a return to the 7 sword aesthetic from the original Exia, so you get all 7 of them. They're all physical blade weapons. They're not bits that fly around like the Quanta. Speaking of the Quanta, let's go to number 1, the GN Tachi. It's based on the Quanta's GN Sword 5 and is the foundation for the GN Sword 6, which I don't really know what that's from. Future considerations, perhaps. Anyway, the GN Tachi is amazing looking. It's elegant, it's sleek. It's just such a beautiful, perfect design. And when you take advantage of the tremendous articulation and the way that it holds the accessories, you can see that hinge joint in that left arm coming through here. You get to pull off some really true to the samurai aesthetic poses. Man, the poses you can get this figure in are fantastic. I had so much fun putting it into different poses. It has so many different looks. For instance, I think it kind of looks like a gunslinger like this, like a cloak over the side with one arm kind of exposed. And then, you know, bang, he draws his sword rifle in rifle mode. So many poses, so much great stability to keep it on the ground so that it's not falling over. But then there's more. You bring in the dynamic stand. Again, the painting, the printing is all crisp, clean, and perfect. You bring in the dynamic stand, and now you can really add more poses to your Exia Repair 4. The stand works just as well as the figure does. It has 3 points of articulation. All 3 points lock into place. They have tabs. You can see here on this lower arm, there's a little tab you push. On the upper arm, it's just like any action base you might be familiar with. You fold that up, find the spot you want it, lock it into place. And then right underneath the figure, on this other joint, it's a little pin and like a ratchet kind of system. You just find where you want, push the pin back in, and it's locked into place. It's super, super secure. This little piece, I was kind of worried that it wasn't going to hold the figure very well, but it works fine. You can't turn it upside down, but who cares? And then once you have that, and you can utilize the stand, then you have even more options with even more poses. And this figure is just so much fun. The only problem you're going to have with this figure is deciding what accessories to display it with, when, and what poses you want to leave it in. I continually bring it down probably like once a week or once every couple days and throw it into a different pose. It is just so cool and so much fun. You want to talk a little bit more lore? So the Exia Repair 4 has localized Trans Am and that little GN condenser, which allows Grandmaker to use his southpaw style to very precise and devastating accuracy. And that's just really cool. That's a really cool piece of lore. The only problem with this figure is it's kind of hard to get. I can't really tell you how to acquire one because they are super hard to find. Our little penguin here is doing his best to help you find one at a not insane price, but they are hard to find. I would suggest, if you're thinking about this, if this review has convinced you that maybe you need to try Metal Builds out, go ahead and take the plunge. Try to get a pre-order in or something like that and see how it goes. I'm definitely going to encourage you to try to pick up a Metal Build figure. I know they're very, very expensive, but when you start thinking about things like a master grade, if you wanted to make a master grade look as great as this figure does, one, you would need a lot of time and years of experience to pull off something this great. And there's going to be some frustration along the way. Two, you're also going to need a lot of supplies. You're going to need to spend a lot of money in addition to buying the master grade and the tools. You're going to need to buy the paints, the decals. And so I say, if you're in the position to do it, instead of adding a couple more master grades to your already overflowing backlog, be honest with yourself, why not try a beautiful figure like this? A lot of very expensive figures aren't as good as this. I have, some fixed figurations that are very nice to look at. Their decal work is impressive, but they're big bricks. You can't move them around. They're not very solid. They kind of fall apart. This is not the case. This is worth, in my opinion, every cent. Yes, the original retail price is 23,100 yen, which is over $200, but man, it's just so amazing. It's the centerpiece of my collection. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, we encourage you to stay subscribed to the Gunpla Network. Let us know what you think of doing things like this on the Metal Build line. And as always, everyone, thanks for watching and keep on building.
Patrick Kurosawaだ